Hi friends, welcome back. Today we're going to be diving deep into how I found my dream job at 24, my approach to work, and how I think other people should approach work, and also how to find what you enjoy so that you can have a career that feels good. I think the reality is of our world, most people have to work to make money. And in our culture, it's really normal to work a 40-hour work week. So let's just say that that is the reference point that's what we're gonna be using, right? 40 hours a week is a lot of time to spend doing something that you really don't like. And at 24 years old, I did what I call reverse engineering my career, and I am now a full-time entrepreneur. I work less than 40 hours a week, and I am on track to hitting the multiple six-figure mark this year. I don't say that to flex or brag or anything because I think that what I do and the career that I have is accessible to so many people if you can just figure out how to get yourself there, which is what I'm gonna break down today in this video. If you like videos like this, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. I would also love to hear more about your careers in the comments, what you're doing, where you feel stuck, and I will definitely respond and kind of give you some advice. Okay, so what do I exactly do and what does my career look like? When I was in college and even before that, I was always so passionate about serving other people. That was my main thing that I was constantly doing. I was in all the service related clubs and organizations. I was an RA in college because I loved serving other students and I wanted to really help guide them and help them grow and love the university. And I always felt like, okay, well, if I like serving people, that means that I must have to have a career in serving people. So when I was in college, I was an urban studies major and I just didn't feel like I was getting enough information about people and how to serve them. So I declared a double major in human rights, and that really opened my eyes up to a lot of different things. And when the pandemic happened and there were a lot of social movements that were picking up, like the Black Lives Matter movement, I realized that I wanted to be able to create more tangible change in people's lives. And so my mind immediately went to, okay, I like serving people and I want to create tangible change. I should be a lawyer. I studied for the law school admissions test, I took the test, and then I sat there and I remember meeting with the law advisor and I said, I'm so afraid of what my life's gonna look like if I am a lawyer. I don't know that being a lawyer is gonna give me the lifestyle I want. And she was like, well, what kind of lifestyle do you want? And I said, I want to be able to travel whenever I want. I want to be able to work whenever I want. I don't want to be expected to show up in one location every single day. If I want to go spend a week somewhere and work from there, I want to be able to have the opportunity to do that. And you know, she's the law advisor, so of course she's like, well, you can do that. And if, you know, I travel all the time even though I work in law, but I knew in my gut and in my heart of hearts that it wasn't going to give me the life that I wanted. So I had pretty much no plan. I did not know what I was going to do, and I decided I'm going to graduate and I'll figure it out. So when I graduated, I decided I'm gonna try to figure this out. And I had worked with a freelancing platform, and the CEO there, the freelancing platform is called pangea.app. I can link it down below. Still highly recommend it. And I learned so much about freelancing. And I thought, okay, well, you know, maybe I can try to kind of create my own career. At this point in time, I was still under the, you know, idea of like, oh, I'm gonna take a gap year. I will take 1 year off from school and then I'll go to law school and I'll feel more ready there. I'll get all, you know, the traveling that I want to do. I'll get that all out of my system in this gap year, and then I'll magically feel better. And as you can probably tell, 2 years later, now that I am not a lawyer and I'm not in law school, that was not how things panned out, but it was definitely for the better. So when I graduated, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to start freelancing and just see what I can do with this. And basically from there, I slowly built up my business that is now my full-time job, and I'm so grateful for it. I love most parts. I don't love every single bit, right? Because you're never gonna love every single bit of your job. But what I realized was I was so focused on how do I take my interests and monetize them versus what kind of life do I want to live and what kind of career gives that to me. And this is where the whole idea of reverse engineering your career comes into play, or that's what I call it, reverse engineering my career. We think that somehow monetizing and tying our entire career and our studies to this one thing we're interested in is going to make us happy forever. And I personally do not believe that to be true. I know for me, the things I was interested in even 3 years ago are different than what I'm interested in now. If I had made an entire career out of serving people and decided to be a lawyer, I would be very unhappy now because I don't even like the tasks of being a lawyer. I don't want to sit there with a stack of papers and read through it every day. That's not what I want out of my life. I think especially when a lot of people don't know what they want to do, they say, okay, well, what do I like? I should pick a major or a career path that has to do with that and follow it. But what inevitably happens, in my opinion, is that over time, as your interests change, you no longer actually like that. And that passion, the thing that you enjoy, realistically, is one small part of that job, right? So like, I really loved serving people and advocating for people. Great. So when I get to show up in a courtroom and I get to, spit some facts and advocate for my client, I'm getting to do that. But the other 38 hours of the week that I'm sitting there in a cubicle in one little town, reading through stacks and stacks and stacks of papers over and over and over again, I'm going to hate what I'm doing. And the reality is, to have 2 hours a week of something you do love doing and 38 hours a week of something you hate doing, you're not going to be happy long term. So what I challenge people to do now is to think of it backwards. Don't think, what do I like? How can I monetize that? Okay, what's my career? Think, what do you want your dream life to look like? How much money do you need to make to get there? Or what does that look like financially? Then ask yourself, what are the things I can do that are going to afford me that lifestyle that I want to live and therefore are going to help me live out my dream life? So for me, I was like, there's a bunch of things I could realistically do owning my own business, And I chose marketing because of those options of things that could help me live my dream life. Marketing was what made me happy. That was one of the things that I was like, yeah, I can totally get down with that and I'll be comfortable with pivoting if I need to, right? So when I first started my career, I said, all right, I'm gonna be a social media manager. I'm gonna do it freelance so that I have time and location freedom. And I'm going to offer this service to clients. And over time, I realized social media doesn't make me happy. So I pivoted. I decided to start doing content writing. And so I pivoted my services into something that made me happier, but it didn't take away the opportunity for me to scale that business, to make money, to have time and location freedom, right? Because I didn't build my business around that one service. I built it around the broader things that I wanted to accomplish in life. So whenever I pivoted, I would be able to maintain those. Now, before you say, well, I have multiple passions and, there's a million different things I could do that would help satisfy or give me that career that I'm looking for, or the money I'm looking for, or the life I'm looking for, how could I possibly pick one? Know that you're never gonna have a career that addresses every single one of your passions. We have been told that having a job you love is like the key to happiness, especially in America, but I don't think that is sustainable, right? We were not meant to have one thing that makes us passionate and one place that we can show our passions. It is so important, especially if you are a multi-passionate person or a multi-hyphenate, to have other spaces where you can express those passions, explore those passions, right? So for me, I recently found that I'm really passionate about reading. Does that mean I need to be a librarian? No, absolutely not. It means that I need to take 10-15 minutes every single day to read a book. I think because the traditional work week takes so much time out of our available hours each week, we believe it must fill everything and all of our passions, and it must be a place that we can just exhibit all of our skills and our passions and our strengths, but that's really just not realistic. It honestly is not. If you are a multi-hyphenate, multi-passionate person, something else to think about is how can you create a career that allows you to touch on a few of those things, right? So I know people that really like graphic design, video editing, and writing. So they are full-time freelancers and they take on a little bit of each of those tasks. And as their interests change, they change their services a little bit. That's a completely plausible way to do that, right? Maybe you really like writing, but you're also really passionate about your job in tech. So maybe you launch a newsletter sharing tips for people in tech, where you share insights from top executives that you interview, or maybe some coworkers that you have that have given really strong tips to you. That's a great way to be able to touch on something that you love and have a job that you feel supports you and your life. The next phase of this is figuring out what you actually like. And not what you think you like, what you actually like. Now that might sound a little confusing, okay? I was listening to a Jay Shetty podcast. One of the things he says to think about what you actually like and what you're good at is to write down these 3 things. So make a list of things that you have expertise in and you love, things that you have no expertise in but you love, and things that you have expertise in and that you hate. And what Jay Shetty says is that a lot of people are spending time in that last category of doing things that they're good at because they feel obligated to do those, but they actually hate those things. But when it comes to something like a full-time job, are you doing a full-time job of something you absolutely hate simply because you are good at it? That is mind-blowing and seems like the most colossal waste of time. And obviously it's easier said than done to switch careers and to change around what you're doing, but think through, how many things am I doing simply because I have expertise in them, but I actually hate doing them? When you are able to make those optimizations and change around your life and change those things, you're going to find a lot more happiness. This is also going to lead you to have more information about what you actually like. You might think, I love writing. But do you? Or are you just forced to write every day at work? And that's why you feel like you must like it because you're investing a lot of time into it. One distinction that Jay Shetty makes when he talks about this as well is that expertise doesn't equal experience. And I think of this in terms of like on paper experience, right? So I have an expertise in, maybe doing social media work because I have a TikTok and I do content creation and I make money from this, right? But if you look at it on paper, I have about a year of experience. So I am in no way an expert in it. I'm in no way, super experienced. I haven't been doing it for 10 plus years, right? But I have an expertise. I have a deep interest and I really like doing it. So really sit with those things and make a list of things that you love doing and have expertise in, and try to make it as long as you can. Finding those like pockets of where you feel like you have expertise and you enjoy things is going to help with your own self-awareness, which can then translate into how you dissect the things that you like doing when it comes to your career. This all goes back to like having more self-awareness and understanding who you are as best as you possibly can. Another way to kind of get this information out of yourself is to start consciously asking yourself questions. I think for a very long time, I think probably until we graduate college, a lot of things are chosen for us, right? The school we go to is chosen, most of the way up until college. And then we get to college and we come in with a major, and maybe you didn't even choose that major. Maybe that was something that your family pushed you to do, or maybe it was something you felt obligated to do. Sometimes you kind of fall into certain clubs or organizations, or you pick a job simply because you need one in college, right? And when you leave college, you kind of have this opportunity to make all these choices for yourself, and that can feel so scary. And you're looking at all these job descriptions, or you're looking at starting a business and you're like, what do I even enjoy doing? Like, I don't even know. And I think a lot of it comes from the fact that we don't have the self-awareness to know, what do we even like doing? So ask yourself those questions really intentionally after different things. Watch a TV show. What did I like about this? What do I not like about that TV show? What do I like when I go shopping and I see clothes? Like, what am I drawn to? What am I not drawn to? It sounds silly just to ask yourself those basic questions, but the purpose of it is to get to know yourself better so that then when you're trying to make career decisions, you're able to answer them much faster because you're already so clear on what you do and don't like about different aspects of your career. The last thing I want to talk about is the idea of a dream job. Now, I know that I titled this video Finding Your Dream Job and how I found mine, and I truly do love my job and I love what I do and I think it's an absolute blessing, but I think that especially in America, we put so much pressure on finding the dream job. And the reality is some people don't have a dream job. And that is okay. I don't know what my dream job will be in 5 years from now, and I expect that fully to change. Because again, my interests and what I care about and what I'm passionate about is going to evolve as I evolve as a human. So if you're putting a ton of pressure on how do I find my dream job, nothing feels like my dream job, that is okay. The purpose is for you to show up to something that you enjoy and that you feel gives you the life that you want. Because if you're showing up to something you love and you feel like that job is never going to support the life you want to live, it's never going to cover your bills, it's never going to allow you to travel freely or buy the house that you want or buy the car that you want or whatever, you're likely going to feel like it is never enough. And that is an exhausting feeling to feel all the time. So stop putting so much pressure on finding your dream job, because genuinely the idea of a dream job is just a social construct, and I think it's just designed to keep us like seeking more and more and more and seeking something that just really doesn't exist. But also be honest with yourself, right? If there is something that is your dream job and you know that, and it feels like, oh my gosh, this would be perfect, try to figure out how to integrate aspects of that job into what you're doing now and how to get yourself closer to experiencing whatever that role is. And one last thing that I'm gonna add on to this is our careers tend to be so much of who we are, right? Think about when you meet somebody and they're like, oh, tell me about yourself. And you're like, oh, my name's Grace. I own a marketing business full time. Hello, like there's so many other things to you as a human besides just what you do for your career. And that again goes back to the self-awareness of knowing what you like and don't like so you can speak to those things too. I think that our society puts so much pressure on finding that job and that career that just is everything. And if you don't have that, it almost makes you feel inadequate when you compare yourself to other people. Of course, while having a job that you enjoy showing up to is very important, it does not need to be your everything, and it does not need to be your entire identity. Don't seek a dream job to the detriment of yourself, right? If you feel like seeking a dream job is what is exhausting you and is driving you up a wall because you can never find something that feels like a dream job, that is okay. That just means that your career is not meant to be everything to you. And that's exactly how it should be. I feel like I just brain dumped so many thoughts onto you guys, but I want to just have the conversation about career because it's been coming up a lot for me lately, especially with, my career pivoting and changing and growing. And I think there's just so many people in their 20s putting so much pressure on their career and not feeling satisfied by it. So remember to reverse engineer your career and really get to know yourself and be clear on who you are and what you like and don't like. And I promise you, you will find a lot more fulfillment in your career. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. I will leave some links down below to like the podcast I listened to and to the freelancing platform that I mentioned and some other books and things that I really like in relation to this topic. So definitely make sure to check all of those out. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more. And with that, I will see you guys in next week's video. Bye.